Yo, yo, stop everything right now because what's going down at Hallis Hall has the whole city on edge. We've got a rookie breaking every record and saying this is just the beginning. A warrior coming back right when we need him most with the secondary banged up, and a bombshell about the refs that nobody's talking about but could flip everything on Saturday. If you bounce now, you're gonna miss info. No Bears fan should go without before this game. Smash that like, hit subscribe, and stick around till the end because this is about to get wild. First story, Colston Loveland. The future is now. Let me tell you something a lot of folks don't want to admit. Colston Loveland isn't just a promising rookie. This 21-year-old just led the Bears in catches with 58, in yards with 713, and tied for the lead in touchdowns with 6. And the craziest part, he says this is just breaking the seal. Just breaking the seal. People, now let me ask you, how many rookie tight ends have done what Loveland just did this season? And he did it after surgery that kept him out of the entire off-season program. This kid showed up late to the party and still became the party. I think we're witnessing something special in Chicago. Something we haven't seen since the Greg Olsen days. And we all remember how that ended when we let him walk. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Dane Brugler from The Athletic, one of the top draft analysts out there, noticed something Loveland didn't even show at Michigan. His ability in tight windows. Those tough catches, where the coverage is all over you, where you gotta fight for every inch. That wasn't his thing in college. And now, it's one of his biggest strengths. What changed? Jim Dre happened. Declan Doyle happened. Caleb Williams happened. And let me tell you about that connection with Caleb. That's no accident. These two stayed after practice, running extra routes. On off days, they were out there on the field, fine-tuning their timing, building that trust we're now seeing every Sunday. That's what separates the good from the great. Since week 6 against Washington, this kid hasn't had fewer than 3 catches in a single game. Think about that. 11 straight games with at least 3 receptions for a rookie tight end who missed the whole off-season. That's insane. He's coming off back-to-back games with big-time numbers. 6 grabs for 94 yards against San Francisco and 10 for 91 against Detroit with touchdowns in both. And here's the part that's got me fired up. Those 10 catches against Detroit weren't gimmies. They were in traffic, on third downs, one-on-one battles with linebackers, the kind of plays elite tight ends make consistently. But here's what really blew my mind. Dane Brugler pointed out that Loveland was known more for his athleticism at Michigan, but this year he's been especially impressive in tight windows, something that was not his strength in college. That means Jim Dre, Declan Doyle, and the extra work with Caleb Williams are transforming this dude right before our eyes. And you know what else? At Michigan, Loveland was mostly an inline tight end. Used to block, run short routes over the middle. But in Chicago, this kid's doing everything. They move him all over the formation. Slot, outside, inline, and he's producing from every spot. Declan Doyle said it best. He's just a guy we trust. And that trust shows up in crunch time. Loveland has 4 fourth-down catches this season. 4. When the game's on the line, when you need someone to step up, number 88 is making the play. Let me ask you, how many rookies get that kind of trust from their OC on 4th down? That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because in practice, in every rep, Loveland is proving he's reliable. Ben Johnson was even more direct. I think the last few 4th downs, the ball just seems to find its way to him. That's definitely a credit to him. The quarterbacks clearly trust him, but I think that probably says a lot about how vital he is to our operation. Vital. That's the word Johnson used. Vital. A rookie tight end is vital to the Chicago Bears offense. Let me say that again because it's huge. And here's the thing. This kid is playing a complex position in Johnson's system. It's not just running routes. He's got to know the full game plan, multiple positions, responsibilities in the run game, pass protection. He's reading defenses pre-snap, adjusting routes based on coverage, knowing when to stay in and block or release. And he's crushing it as a rookie. Compare that to other rookie tight ends around the league. Tyler Warren in Philly has more catches, sure, but he's in a way simpler system. Harold Fannin in Jacksonville has stats, but he's not doing what Loveland's doing in terms of versatility. Loveland's playing like a 5-year vet in a top-tier offense. But here's what I want to ask. If Loveland is just breaking the seal with these numbers, what the hell are we going to see in the next few years? Because Johnson himself said, I'm really excited not just to see him compete in the coming weeks, but also his future. The future. Johnson's thinking long-term with this kid. And I think that future includes multiple Pro Bowls, being one of the top tight ends in the NFC, and being a core piece of this offense for the next 10 years. Now, there's one thing Loveland needs to do this Saturday. Show he can dominate Green Bay. The Packers have held him in check in 2 games, limiting him to just 59 yards on 7 catches, though he did score once. But this is a different Loveland. This is a Loveland who's evolved, who's grown, who's earned the full trust of his quarterback and OC. And think about this. In those 2 games against Green Bay, Loveland was still learning the system, still finding his rhythm, still building that chemistry with Caleb. Now he's a whole different beast. And listen to what he said after the loss to Detroit. After the game, Johnson said, if you're not ready to play the next 5 weeks, if you're thinking about anything else, if you're thinking about booking vacation flights, don't come. He made it real clear what's at stake and what this team is chasing. That mindset, that attitude, is what separates the good from the great. And I believe Colston Loveland is on his way to being great. Not just good, great. The kind of tight end that defines an era in Chicago. The kind of tight end fans remember for decades. Second story, Kyler Gordon, the Warrior returns. Now, if you thought that was everything, you're crazy, because we've got a situation in the secondary that's absolutely critical for Saturday's game. And I need you to lock in on every word I'm about to say. Kyler Gordon is back. Well, he's probably back. He's listed as questionable, but he went through a full practice on Thursday, which means he's trending in the right direction. And Chicago desperately needs him because, listen to this, CJ, Gardner-Johnson has been ruled out for the playoff game due to a concussion he suffered last week against Detroit. He's still in the NFL's concussion protocol. Let me ask you, do you understand how big this is? Gordon is our starting slot corner. Gardner-Johnson was filling in while he was out, and now Gardner-Johnson is out. The only other backup at slot is Nick McLeod, who just became available this week after missing the last 2 games with an illness. I'm telling you right now, if Gordon can't go, or if he's not at 100%, we're in trouble against a Green Bay offense that's going to attack any weakness in our secondary. And you know what? Jordan Love has already torched us twice this year. Twice! We can't afford to give him any more advantages. Let me remind you, in those 2 games against Green Bay, Love completed 67% of his passes for a combined 542 yards and 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns. And a lot of that damage came from the slot, exactly where Gordon plays, exactly where we need him this Saturday. But here's the thing, Dennis Allen, our defensive coordinator, is pumped to have Gordon back. He said, obviously, it's been unfortunate that we haven't had him much this season. But he was a guy we were really excited about going into the year. And I feel like he can help us make some plays and help us win. And you know why Allen's so excited? Because Gordon isn't just a slot corner. He's a playmaker. Before getting hurt, Gordon had 2 picks, 5 pass breakups, and was allowing a passer rating of just 78.3 when targeted. Those are elite numbers for a slot corner. Gordon's been on injured reserve twice this season with soft tissue injuries. And let me ask you, doesn't that worry you? Because it worries me. Soft tissue injuries tend to linger, especially when you rush back. And Gordon's coming back for the biggest game of the season. But the Bears don't have a choice. They opened his 21-day practice window this week, letting him return to the field for the first time since he injured his groin before the first Packers matchup. Think about that. Gordon hasn't played in either of the 2 games against Green Bay this year. This will be brand new for them. They've got no tape of him in this system against their offense. That could be a huge advantage for us because Matt LaFleur can't game plan for Gordon if he doesn't know how Dennis Allen's going to use him. And I think Allen's got some tricks up his sleeve. because Gordon can do things Gardner-Johnson can't. Gordon's quicker, more explosive, better in man coverage. Allen can be more aggressive with his blitzes, knowing Gordon can handle the slot one-on-one. But the situation gets even trickier. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka and Amen Ogbongbemiga have also been ruled out. Both are in concussion protocol. Tryon-Shoyinka is part of our D-line rotation, and Ogbongbemiga is a key special teams guy. And here's the issue. Ogbongbemiga played on 4 special teams units. 4. Punt coverage, punt return, kickoff coverage, kickoff return. That kind of versatility is priceless in the playoffs, where special teams can swing games. The Bears responded by bringing back Jalen Reeves-Maybin to the practice squad. He was with the team earlier this season, but got cut when they needed roster space. Looks like they'll elevate him for the game to help on special teams. Reeves-Maybin knows the system, knows the coaches, and can step in right away. And let me ask you, doesn't this injury situation feel like exactly the kind of adversity that separates pretenders from contenders? Because I think it does. This team has faced adversity all season and still found ways to win. Look at the list of guys who've been on IR this year. Kyler Gordon, Montez Sweat, Jaquan Brisker, Rome Odunze, Braxton Jones. Key players, guys any team would miss. And yet, the Bears still found a way to win 11 regular season games. Ben Johnson said it best. It's good to have both of them back out there. They're excited. They're moving well, and we'll see if they can help us this weekend. And notice he said both, because it's not just Gordon coming back. Rome Odunze also went through a full practice and was removed from the injury report after missing 5 straight games with a foot injury. A stress fracture he tried to play through earlier that only made things worse after a strong start to his second season. Odunze made it clear on Wednesday that he's playing Wednesday, but said he might be on a snap count. And I'll tell you this, even a limited Odunze is better than no Odunze, because before the injury, this kid was our most productive receiver. He was Caleb's go-to guy on 3rd downs. And think about the timing. Odunze hasn't played against Green Bay either this year. Just like Gordon, the Packers have no recent film on him. They don't know how Ben Johnson's going to use him in this evolved offense. That's a massive advantage. Ozzy Trapilo is also off the injury report. His designation was lifted Thursday after a full practice. He missed the Lions game with a quad injury. Trapilo's been solid as the starting left tackle since Braxton Jones went down. He's allowed just 2 sacks in the last 8 weeks. That's excellent for a guy who started as a backup. And DJ Moore, who had some knee soreness and was limited Thursday, went full on Friday and was also cleared. Moore is crucial to this offense. He's the #1 receiver, the guy who draws double coverage, the guy who opens things up for everyone else. So let's recap. We might have Gordon back. We definitely have Odunze back. Trapilo is healthy. Moore is healthy. This team is heading into the playoffs the healthiest it's been in months. And that's got me hyped. Third story, Ben Johnson versus the refs. The truth about officiating. And if you thought we were done, let me hit you with something about the officiating in this game that you need to know. Because there are people out there trying to spin narratives. And I'm here to set the record straight. Adrian Hill is going to be the head referee for Saturday night's game, and his crew ranked 2nd in most flags thrown during the regular season. So someone asked Ben Johnson if that worried him. And you know what Johnson did? He went off. Who on this crew threw all those flags? Johnson asked. This is an all-star crew made up of a mix of guys, so are we saying this particular collection was 2nd in flags? And he's absolutely right. Full officiating crews don't go to the playoffs. Hill is the head ref, but he's not bringing his regular crew. These are all-star officials. Each one is selected for postseason games based on individual performance, not team stats. Let me break this down for you because it matters. The NFL grades every official individually throughout the season. The best in each role: referee, umpire, down judge, line judge, field judge, side judge, back judge, get playoff assignments. It's not about the best crew, it's about the best individuals. So when someone says Adrian Hill's crew threw a ton of flags, that's irrelevant, because Hill won't have his usual guys. he'll have the top officials from across the league at each position. Johnson said, so he's not the one actually doing it, so that's not a concern of mine. We're well versed in all the officials that will be working this game, and that's huge. Johnson and his staff have studied every one of these officials. They know their tendencies, what they call tight, what they let slide. That kind of prep is what separates good coaches from great ones. But here's what does matter. Hill's crew worked 2 Bears games this season. The first was the 25-24 win over the Raiders on a blocked field goal. The Bears got flagged 8 times for 60 yards, while the Raiders had 5 for 36. Nothing crazy there. Later, Hill's crew did the Bears-Giants game, and the Bears were only penalised 3 times for 25 yards, while the Giants got hit with 10 flags for 69 yards, 3 penalties in a full game. That shows that when the Bears play clean, the refs have no reason to throw flags. So there's no bias here, no conspiracy, no anti-Bears agenda. What there is a need for the Bears to play cleaner football. And here's where I gotta be real with you. The Bears have a discipline problem that needs fixing. Johnson made it clear. We've got to play a cleaner brand of football when it comes to those 15-yard penalties we had last time. Austin Booker got hit with 2 for roughing Jordan Love, and the second one led to a fine after Love's concussion. And let me ask you, was that second hit necessary? Because I'll tell you right now, it wasn't. The Packers have been making a ton of noise about it this week. Matt LaFleur's brought it up in every press conference. Jordan Love's talked about it. The Green Bay media is trying to push this narrative that the Bears played dirty. But here's the truth. The Bears led the NFL in roughing the passer penalties with 9. It's not like they were targeting Love. It's something we need to clean up, period. Because in the playoffs, a 15-yard flag can be the difference between winning and losing. And look, I get the frustration. I get that these edge rushers are going full speed, trying to get to the quarterback. But they've got to have control. They've got to know when the QB is in a vulnerable spot. They've got to adjust at the last second. The best pass rushers in the league, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, rarely get flagged for roughing. Why? Because they've mastered the art of getting to the QB without crossing the line. And here's the wild stat. After a rough start to the season with penalties, the Bears actually improved. They finished with the 6th most penalties overall at 120 and 8th in penalty yards with 970. That's progress. That shows Johnson and his staff are working on it. On the flip side, the Bears benefited from the 5th fewest penalties called against their opponents. Just 678 yards. So I ask you, is that because we play clean or because we're not being aggressive enough? The Bears' most penalised player this year, Darnell Wright, 12 penalties for 95 yards. 8 of those killed drives. That's unacceptable for a right tackle who was named second-team All-Pro by Pro Football Focus. And look, I get it. Wright's facing elite pass rushers every week, but 12 penalties. 8 that stall drives. That's gotta get better, especially in the playoffs, where every possession is gold. But here's the thing. Wright still had a strong season overall. He made second-team All-Pro. He gave up just 3 sacks all year. His PFF pass blocking grade was 82.3. That's excellent. So the penalties are frustrating, but they don't define his season. Let me ask you this. Are we going to let the refs decide this game? Or are we going to play so dominant that it doesn't matter? Because I believe this team has the talent to make the refs irrelevant. And that's the mindset we need on Saturday. We can't worry about the officials. We can't use that as an excuse. We've got to come out and dominate. We've got to play so clean, so disciplined, so sharp that the flags don't even matter. Because at the end of the day, the best teams find ways to win no matter who's wearing the stripes. The best teams don't complain about calls. The best teams execute. And I believe these Chicago Bears are one of the best teams in the NFL. I believe we've got the talent, the coaching, the mindset to win this game. But we've got to be smart. We've got to be disciplined. We've got to play Bears football. So let me ask you this. After everything you just heard, do you think Colston Loveland is going to go off against Green Bay this Saturday and prove he's just getting started? Because I think he's about to have the best game of his career. I think he's going to show the Packers why he's the future of this position in Chicago. Drop a comment if you agree. And what do you think about Kyler Gordon's return? Do you think he's going to be the difference between winning and losing against the Packers? Because I do. I think Gordon's going to make a game-changing play, a pick, a pass breakup in a key moment, something that flips the momentum. Let me know if you feel the same. And finally, about the refs. Are you worried about the flags? Or do you trust this team to play so clean and so dominant that it won't matter who's blowing the whistle? Because I trust Ben Johnson. I trust he's got this team ready to play disciplined football. I want to hear your take in the comments. Look, this is our family here. This Bears community we're building is something special. We're more than a YouTube channel. We're a family that bleeds navy and orange. A family that suffered together, celebrated together, and now is about to witness something historic together. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Because I guarantee you we'll have more breaking news tomorrow. I guarantee you that after Saturday's game, we'll be right here breaking down every play, every decision, every moment. And you do not want to miss what's coming for Chicago. Hit like if you think Loveland's going to have his best game of the year Saturday. Hit like if you believe Kyler Gordon is the X factor we need. Hit like if you think these Bears are going to dominate Green Bay, no matter who's reffing. Subscribe if you believe this defense is going to shut down Jordan Love. Subscribe if you think Caleb Williams is about to have his playoff breakout moment. Subscribe if you want to be part of this family that's witnessing the rebirth of the Chicago Bears. And comment which of these three stories has you most hyped for the game. Is it Loveland ready to explode? Gordon coming back just in time? Or Johnson's confidence that this team will play clean no matter the refs? Because this is more than a channel. This is a family. And in this family, we bleed navy and orange. We're the monsters of the Midway. We're the city that gave birth to the 85 defense. We're the city of Ehrlicher, of Peppers, of Hester. And this Saturday night, we're going to remind the world why Chicago is the true football city. This is our moment. This is our season. And you, this family, are going to be with us every step of the way. Bear down, family. We'll see you in the next video. And we'll see you Saturday night when these Bears show the whole world that Chicago is back.